On the night that Beijing's golden boy Mo Yanhan proposed to me, the diamond ring in his hand sparkled so brightly it made me dizzy. His single-knee vow hadn't even landed when a phone call from his white moon ex Su Maya made him stand up and leave, abandoning me alone in the -5-degree wind. I waited until late, received no explanation, packed in 3 minutes, booked an overnight flight back to the ancestral Jinling mansion and accepted the family match my grandfather had long ago arranged. For me, Mo Yanhan stood before me on one knee, holding a pigeon egg-sized diamond ring, behind him a heart made of 999 white roses, and drones painting Yao Yao marry me across the night sky. Around us were friends he'd invited, holding cameras and jeering with smiles. He looked at me with that rare, proud tenderness peculiar to Beijing nobility, his voice smiling as he spoke. "Feng Mingyao, we've been together 3 years, you are the only woman I want to marry in this life, will you marry me?" I looked at him, my heart racing. 3 years of love had finally come to this moment. Just as I was about to say yes, his phone in his pocket suddenly began to ring incessantly. He frowned, took out his phone, and the moment he saw the caller ID his expression changed instantly. The earlier gentle pride vanished, replaced only by panic and urgency in his eyes. He answered immediately, even forgetting he was still kneeling. Toward the person on the other end, his voice was a nervousness I had never heard from him. "Maya, what's wrong? Don't cry, tell me slowly." Whatever was said on the other end made his face go paler and paler. He sprang to his feet, didn't even look at me, tossed the ring onto a nearby table and turned to leave. I reached out and grabbed his arm, asking, "Mo Yanhan, where are you going? The proposal isn't finished." He shook my hand off, his voice laced with obvious impatience. "Maya cut her wrist, she's being treated at the hospital now. I have to go." Yao Yao, stop making a scene, we'll talk when I get back. Making a scene? I looked at him incredulous. "Mo Yanhan, today is the day you proposed to me, and because of one phone call from Su Maya you're going to leave me here alone. Maya is about to die, can't you be sensible?" He shouted at me, turned and ran without looking back, jumped into the car and gunned the engine, disappearing into the night. The friends around us exchanged glances, no one dared speak. The 5-degree below zero wind cut into my face like knives. I stood where I was, watching the direction he had left, still clutching the bouquet of white roses he had handed me. I waited for him the whole night, from 8 in the evening until 4 in the morning. Dawn was breaking. The roses on the viewing platform had been wilted by the cold wind. The drone's battery had long since died and fallen to the ground. People had dispersed and only I remained amid the mess scattered everywhere. He did not return, not a single message, a call, or an explanation. I smiled faintly, threw the roses to the ground and turned to walk into the nearby parking lot. I was living in the apartment he had prepared for me, but I didn't go back. I only took my ID and phone. Packing my things took 3 minutes. I got into the car and told the driver, "Take me to Capital Airport." The driver paused. "Phone gong, it's so late, why go to the airport? Back to Jinling." I leaned against the seat, watching the sky brighten outside, my tone calm. "Book the next flight to Jinling as soon as possible." The car started toward the airport. I took out my phone and blocked Mo Yanhan on WeChat. His number, every contact. 3 years of love died the moment he turned and left me. I'm not a clingy wisp who has no life without him. I don't need Mo Yanhan to survive. The Feng family of Jinling is my true root. The car pulled into the airport. I got out, walked into the terminal, showed my boarding pass, passed security, and boarded the plane to Jinling. As the plane taxied, accelerated, and climbed into the sky, I watched Beijing shrink beneath me and felt not a trace of regret. Mo Yanhan, goodbye. From now on, whether you live or die has nothing, absolutely nothing, to do with me, Feng Mingyao, and you'll never know what it was you abandoned. The plane landed at Jinling Luku Airport at 8 in the morning. The car my grandfather had sent was already waiting at the terminal. I got in and we headed straight for the Feng family old residence. The Feng family residence is a Seheyuan in Jinling's old Mendong district, the ancestral home passed down for generations and the Feng family's stronghold. Known to everyone in Jinling, my grandfather, Feng Zhenxiong, is a titan in the domestic military-industrial field. Feng Military Industry Group is one of the country's top defense enterprises, holding multiple national key projects. I am the only legitimate heir of the Feng family, but since I was young I was passionate about aero-engine research and didn't want to rely on the family, so I went to Beijing on my own, entered a national key R&D center, and outside I only said I was an ordinary researcher, never mentioning the Feng background. Mo Yanghang and I were together for 3 years and only knew I was a research engineer. He had no idea about my true identity. When the car pulled into the old residence, my grandfather was already waiting for me in the main hall. Seeing me come in, he put down his teacup and sighed. "You're back, were you wronged?" I went up to him, sat down, nodded and said nothing. My grandfather looked at me, his eyes full of pain. "I've told you before that Mo boy isn't trustworthy. His heart isn't right. He only has eyes for that white moonlight of his. He can't be relied on. You wouldn't listen and had to bang your head against the wall before you turned back." I tugged at the corner of my mouth and smiled. "Grandfather, I was wrong. It won't happen again. As long as you know." Grandfather nodded, took a document from the drawer and pushed it toward me. "This is the marriage alliance agreement I prepared for you long ago. The other party is Lu Xiang of the Lu family in the capital, the ruler of Lu Corporation's military division, a match equal to our Feng family. I've met that child. He has good character and strong ability, 100 times better than that Mo boy." I picked up the agreement and flipped through it. The terms were simple. I would marry Lu Xiang. The Lu family would provide full chain support for my research projects. The Feng and Lu families would enter a deep strategic partnership. The marriage term would be 3 years, after which we would part amicably and not interfere with each other. After reading, I took a pen and signed my name on the last page of the agreement. Feng Mingyao. Grandfather stared for a moment after I finished signing, clearly not expecting me to be so decisive. "Yao Yao, are you sure this is a marriage alliance, not something to joke about?" "I'm sure." I put down my pen and looked at Grandpa. "Grandpa, I used to think I had to make it on my own, not rely on the family. Now I understand. Relying on anyone is no match for relying on myself, and relying on family is still better than relying on an unreliable man." Grandpa smiled and nodded. "It's good you've figured it out. Shiyang will be in Jinling this afternoon. You two can meet and discuss the follow-up." I nodded without speaking. Just then my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number and I answered. On the other end was Mo Yanhai's voice, hoarse from a hangover and thick with impatience. "Feng Mingyao, where have you gone?" I went back to the apartment to find you and you weren't home. "Haven't you had your tantrum long enough? Come back right now." I leaned back in the chair, my tone calm. "Mo Yanghai, we're finished. The engagement is off. Don't contact me again." Mo Yanghai on the other end was momentarily stunned, then laughed, disdain dripping from his words. "Feng Mingyao, are you playing games with me? Is it just because I didn't accompany you to your proposal yesterday? Maya nearly lost her life. How could I not go? Can you be reasonable and stop making trouble?" "Making trouble?" I laughed. "Mo Yanghai, you left me at the proposal scene alone, made me wait in the cold wind all night, without even an explanation, and now you call me the one making trouble. Then what do you want?" His tone instantly cooled. "I already told you. Maya is my sister. If something happened to her I couldn't ignore it. If you make a fuss over this then there's nothing more to say. I'm telling you, Feng Mingyao, don't be shameless. Being able to marry me is a blessing you earned over 8 lifetimes. A blessing. I don't want it." My tone was icy. "Mo Yanghai, starting today we're completely done. No more ties." After I said that, I hung up and put his number on the blacklist. Grandpa looked at me and sighed. "That boy from the Mo family is arrogant to the bone. He doesn't even know what he's lost." I didn't reply, staring out at the courtyard. "That's right, he doesn't know. He thinks I'm just an ordinary engineer who can't live without him. He thinks a snap of his fingers will make me obediently return. He's wrong. From the moment he left me, he lost every right." At 3 in the afternoon, Lu Xiang arrived at the old house. He wore a black suit, stood straight, his features sharp and steady, exuding the distinctive fierceness of a soldier while remaining polite. He walked up to me, extended his hand, his voice low and strong. "Miss Feng, hello, I'm Lu Xiang." I took his hand and shook it. "Mr. Lu, hello, I'm Feng Mingyao." He looked at me with open eyes. "Miss Feng, old Master Feng already told me about the arranged marriage. I've reviewed the agreement and have no objections, but I want to make this clear. This marriage is a strategic cooperation. I won't interfere with your private life or force you to do anything you don't want to do, of course. If you run into any trouble I will help you solve it." I looked at him and nodded. "Mr. Lu, the same goes for me. Happy cooperation." He smiled, a flicker of admiration in his eyes. "Happy cooperation." I looked at him, understanding clearly in my heart. This arranged marriage is the start of my counterattack. "Mo Yanghai, didn't you think I couldn't survive without you? I want to see your face when you learn that the next man I chose is Lu Xiang, someone you wouldn't even dare to look up to." And you have no idea what a painful price you'll pay for what you think is just my temper tantrum. I stayed in Jinling for 2 days, Lu Xiang, and I finalized all the details of the marriage alliance, then flew back to Beijing. My R&D project had reached its most critical moment. This is a national key project, there can be no delay. Just after I returned to the research base, my assistant came running over in tears, his face ashen. Engineer Feng, it's bad, something terrible has happened. I frowned. What is it? Tell me slowly. The high-temperature alloy materials we ordered have all been intercepted. The suppliers have unilaterally terminated their contracts. They say they'll pay breach penalties but won't supply us. My assistant was so anxious he was in tears. I asked around. Every manufacturer capable of producing this material refuses to supply us. They say someone made a warning anyone who supplies us would be opposing his Motivational aviation. My expression went cold in an instant. Mo Yanghang. Of course it was him. High-temperature alloy is the core material for aero engines. Without it, my R&D project can't proceed at all. He's trying to strangle my lifeline to force me to bow. I walked into the lab and the whole project team gathered around me, each with a worried look. Deputy Chief Engineer Li Jun stepped in front of me and sighed. Engineer Feng, it's obvious that Director Mo did this. His influence in the aviation circle is too great. No one dares offend him. Why don't you appease Director Mo, admit a mistake, and let it go? After all, this is a national key project, we can't afford delays. I looked at him and said coldly, appease him? Why should I appease him? I'm not the one who did anything wrong, Engineer Feng, don't be stubborn. Li Jun grew anxious. Who is Director Mo? A prince of the Beijing circle. We researchers can't take him on. If you admit the mistake and go back to living your life, wouldn't the materials issue be resolved? The project could continue. I ignored him, took out my phone, and dialed Mo Yanhan's number. This time I wasn't blocked. The call was answered instantly. From the other end came Mo Yanhan's triumphant laugh. Feng Mingyao, what, finally come to your senses? No to call me, I thought. You were tougher than that. Mo Yanhan, was the material thing arranged by you? I asked in a frosty tone. It was me, he admitted generously, arrogance thick in his voice. Feng Mingyao, I've told you before, without me, you're nothing. Whether your lousy project can continue all depends on my word. What do you want? I asked. Very simple. His tone took on a condescending air. Now, come to my company immediately, kneel before me, apologize, tell me you were wrong, stay obediently by my side from now on. And never throw a tantrum again. If I'm pleased, I'll have the materials delivered to you. How about that? I laughed a cold laugh. Mo Yanhan, in your dreams. Feng Mingyao, don't you shamelessly spurn my favor. He flew into a rage. I tell you, without my approval, not a single manufacturer in China will dare supply you. Your project will be completely ruined. You'll become a national criminal. Can you shoulder that responsibility? I can, I said coolly. Then don't trouble yourself, Mo Yanhan. You really think cutting off the material supply will force me to bow? You're so naive, I said. All right, fine. He ground his teeth in fury. Feng Mingyao, just wait, let's see how long you can keep up that tough talk. I hung up immediately and, in front of the whole project team, called Lu Xiang. The phone rang once and was answered. Lu Xian's low voice came through. Yao Yao, what's wrong? This was our agreed pretense for outsiders. He called me Yao Yao to feign intimacy. I spoke calmly. Xiang, the high-temperature alloy, core material for my R&D project, has been intercepted. All suppliers are too afraid to supply us. I need your help. Lu Xian's tone turned cold in an instant. Who did it? Mo Yanhan. It was him. I know, he was terse and efficient. For this kind of high-temperature alloy, Lu Corporation Military has its own production line. Its performance is better than anything on the market. I'll arrange it now. Within 24 hours the material will be delivered to your R&D base. Whatever amount you need, you'll have. Good, thank you, Xiang. No need to be polite with me. His voice softened a bit. If this happens again, call me first. With me here, no one can touch your project. After hanging up, I looked at the stunned project team and said evenly, the material issue is resolved. It will arrive within 24 hours. Everyone return to your posts and continue pushing the project, no delays. The project team erupted, faces full of shock, staring at me in disbelief. They never expected I could solve what they thought was an apocalyptic problem with a single call. Only Deputy Chief Engineer Li Jun's face went pale and flushed in turn. There was a flash of panic in his eyes. I glanced at him but said nothing. He had just begged me desperately to soften toward Mo Yanhan. Now that I'd solved the material problem with one call, his reaction was odd. But right now the most important thing was the project timeline, other matters I could deal with later. My assistant came up beside me and whispered, "Engineer Feng, who did you call just now? That was amazing, Lu Corporation Military. They're the leader in the domestic military field." I smiled and didn't explain. Moyen Han, you think cutting off the material supply will force me to submit? You have no idea the trump card I hold, something you can never provoke. The pits you dug for me, I will fill in one by one, and the holes you dug will ultimately become your own grave. 24 hours later, the materials arranged by Lu Xiang arrived at the Randi base on schedule, 10 tons of high-temperature alloy with performance even better than what we had previously ordered, fully meeting the project's requirements. The project team cheered and were full of energy. Everyone was highly motivated, and the project schedule not only wasn't delayed but was even ahead of time. But I knew this was just the beginning. Mo Yanghai wouldn't let it go that easily. He would surely have even more vicious methods waiting for me. I looked at the equipment running in the laboratory, my gaze icy. "Bring it on, I want to see what other skills you have, Mo Yanghai." A week later, the China Aviation Industry Annual Summit was held at the Beijing International Convention Center. This is the highest-level summit in the domestic aviation field, gathering all the top enterprises, experts, and magnates in the industry, along with hundreds of media outlets nationwide with full live coverage. Mo's Aviation, owned by Mo Yanghai, was the largest sponsor of this summit, and he was the chairman of the organizers. Lu Xiang and I attended this summit together. As we walked into the venue, everyone's attention focused on us. Lu Xian's status in the military-industrial field is known by all, but he is low-key and rarely attends such commercial summits. No one expected he would appear here, and even walk side by side with me in such an intimate manner. Whispers immediately rose in the hall. "Isn't that Lu Xiang of Lu's military industry? Why is he here and walking with Feng Mingyao? Who is Feng Mingyao? Isn't she that engineer who develops engines? How would she know Mr. Lu? I heard she used to be Mr. Mo's girlfriend. Weren't they about to get married? How is she with Mr. Lu now?" I heard these comments clearly, but I kept a blank expression, and together with Lu Xiang, walked to the first row of the guest seats and sat down. The first row was reserved for the industry's top bigwigs. Mo Yanhan's seat was right next to mine. When he saw Lu Xiang and me sitting together, his face instantly darkened, his eyes full of malice and disbelief. He hadn't expected that. Not only was I not driven into a corner by him, but I had instead ended up with Lu Xiang. The summit officially began. The host came on stage and first introduced the guests present, focusing on the chairman of this summit's organizer, Mo Yanghans. Mo Yanghans straightened his suit and walked up to the podium. He began by talking about the development of the domestic aviation industry and outlining Mo Aviation's strategy, speaking passionately to thunderous applause from the audience. Halfway through his speech, he suddenly changed tack, his gaze falling on me, his tone thick with ridicule. "Of course, in our industry there are also some people who fly the flag of independent research and shout patriotic slogans, but in reality they're all talk and no skill. They can't even manage the most basic supply chain. Their projects stall and they go searching for backers and shortcuts. People like that don't deserve to stay in our aviation industry, much less handle a national key project." No sooner had he finished than a burst of laughter erupted from the audience and everyone's eyes snapped to me. Obviously, everyone knew he was talking about me. "Mr. Mo must mean Feng Mingyao, right? I heard Mr. Mo cut off her project materials and it almost died. Isn't that so? I heard she broke up with Mr. Mo. He was furious and cut off her supplies. She's definitely out of options now. Looking for a backer. What backer could she possibly find in the aviation circle who doesn't give Mr. Mo face?" Comments rose and fell in waves. Everyone was waiting to see me humiliated, to watch me leave in disgrace. Mo Yanhan stood on the stage, looking at me with a smug smile curling at the corner of his mouth, his eyes full of the arrogance of a victor. He thought that by humiliating me publicly like this, I would be utterly ashamed and collapse. He was wrong. At that moment, Lu Xiang stood up, took my hand and walked up onto the podium with me. The whole hall fell silent instantly. Everyone was stunned, staring at us in disbelief. Mo Yanhan froze too, staring at us as his face drained white. "President Lu, what are you doing?" Lu Xiang ignored him, picked up the microphone, looked out at the sea of people and spoke in a low, powerful voice that carried across the venue. "Hello everyone, I'm Lu Xiang. I have 2 announcements to make here." He paused, glanced at me with a gentle look and continued. First, the woman beside me, Ms. Feng Mingyao, is my fiancé. We are engaged and will be holding our wedding soon. The moment he said that, the hall blew up. Everyone was stunned, looking at us on stage in disbelief. Lu Xian's fiancé. Feng Mingyao was Lu Xian's fiancé. Mo Yanhan stood to the side, his face ashen, trembling all over, staring at me with shock and jealousy. He had never expected that the backer I found would be Lu Xiang. Lu Military Industry is the absolute leader in the domestic military industry, not to mention his single Mo Aviation. Even 10 Mo Aviations together wouldn't compare to a finger of the Lu Group. His earlier arrogance, boasting, and suppression toward me looked like a joke in front of Lu Xiang. Lu Xiang continued, his tone instantly turning cold. Second, from today onward, Lu Military Industry Group will provide full materials, technical and financial support for the National Key Aero Engine Randi project led by my fiancée Ms. Feng Mingyao. Anyone who dares to interfere with her project will be opposing me, Lu Xiang, and the entire Lu Military Industry. A dead silence fell over the hall. No one dared speak or breathe. Everyone knew exactly how weighty that declaration was. Lu Xiang was publicly backing me before the whole industry, providing protection and guarantee. Those who had mocked me earlier shut their mouths one by one, pale and unable to even raise their heads. The suppliers who had refused to provide materials now regretted it deeply. Mo Yanhan stood on the stage, trembling, face white as a sheet, like an idiot, helplessly at a loss. The podium he had carefully prepared to shame me had now become my stage, the place where he was thoroughly slapped in the face. I picked up the microphone, looked out at the crowd and spoke clearly, word by word. Thank you all for your concern. My Randi project hasn't stalled, on the contrary, it's ahead of schedule. 3 months from now, the new aero engine we developed will officially begin test flights. When the time comes, everyone is welcome to attend and witness it. Thunderous applause erupted from the audience, sustained and unending. Lu Xiang and I descended the podium side by side under everyone's gaze. As we passed Mo Yannan, I paused, glanced at him, and a cold smile curled at the corner of my mouth. Mo Yannan, did you think you could cover the sky with one hand? Did you think you could stomp me underfoot? Now look, who is the joke of the whole industry? He looked at me, his eyes bloodshot, teeth clenched, unable to utter a single word. Lu Xiang and I walked out of the venue. Once inside the car, Lu Xiang looked at me and smiled. How is it? Satisfied? I nodded and smiled. Satisfied, thank you, Xiang. No need to thank me. He looked at me with a serious expression. I told you, with me around, no one can bully you. I looked at him and felt a warmth stir in my chest. This arranged agreement was originally just a tool I used to fight back, but Lu Xian's forthrightness, reliability, and always being responsive made me feel differently about him. Still, I knew this was not the time to indulge in such thoughts. Mo Yannan had been slapped hard in public. With his character, he would never let it go. He would surely use even more vicious means to retaliate against me and to destroy my project. I had to prepare in advance. What I didn't expect was that he would be so heartless as to bribe people in my project team to steal my core technology. After the summit, my project progressed unusually smoothly. With technical and material support from Lu Corporation's military division, the project team was full of energy and the core technology development had already reached the final stages, but I soon noticed something wrong. The core design drawings I had stored on the secure computer showed signs of having been opened. The project's core data could only be accessed by the core members of the project team, and they had all signed confidentiality agreements. Any leakage would incur criminal liability. I immediately initiated a confidentiality audit and I called Lu Xiang to have him send a professional security team to help. That same day, Lu Xiang dispatched the country's top security team to conduct a comprehensive inspection of the research base's systems, computers, and surveillance. 3 days later, the inspection results came back. The head of the security team placed a report in front of me, his face grave. Director Feng, we found it. The person who leaked the data is your project's deputy chief engineer, Li Jun. I froze for a moment, then I realized, of course it was him. When Mo Yanhan cut off the material supply earlier, he had been desperately urging me to soften my stance toward Mo Yanhan. At the time, I already felt something was off. The head of the security team continued. Our investigation found that Li Jun had been in close contact with Mo Yanhan 3 months ago. Mo Yanhan gave him a 5 million deposit and had him act as an insider within the project team, reporting project progress at any time. Just yesterday he transmitted some of the project's core design drawings to Mo Yenhan. I looked at the transfer records and chat logs in the report and my gaze went instantly cold. Lee Jun, the deputy chief engineer I had promoted with my own hands, whom I had treated as my right-hand man, I never expected he would be the mole Mo Yenhan planted by my side. Mo Yenhan would stop at nothing to wreck my project. I looked at the head of the security team and asked, "The schematics he sent out, are they the complete core data?" "No." The head shook his head. "His clearance isn't enough, he could only get some peripheral design drawings, he couldn't access the core algorithms and data." I nodded, a cold smile tugging at my mouth. Since he wanted to pass data to Mo Yenhan, I would give him a big gift. I explained my plan to the head. His eyes lit up after hearing it and he immediately nodded. "Director Feng, this is brilliant, will make Mo Yenhan take a huge fall." That afternoon I deliberately placed a core technology design drawing in my secure computer and granted Lee Jun temporary viewing access. Sure enough, that night Lee Jun secretly opened my computer and transmitted the drawing in full to Mo Yenhan. Mo Yenhan was overjoyed when he received the drawings. Early the next morning he held a grand new product launch, inviting hundreds of media outlets nationwide and streaming it live. At the press conference, Mo Yenhan stood on stage, buoyant and confident, holding the fake plans I had given him. Facing the cameras he proclaimed passionately, "Our Mo Aviation, after 3 years of independent research and development, has finally cracked the core technology of a new type of aircraft engine. This technology has reached an internationally leading level and fills a domestic technological gap. Mo Aviation will be the first private enterprise in the country to own an aircraft engine with fully independent intellectual property." Applause thundered in the auditorium, photographers snapped frantically, and the internet instantly blew up. The hashtag #MoAviation breaks engine core technology has shot to the top of trending lists and everyone online was praising Mo Yenhan as a national entrepreneur and the hope of the domestic aviation industry. Flushed with pride, Mo Yenhan became arrogant, even making thinly veiled jabs at me during the launch, insinuating that some peers were taking government funding yet producing nothing, only seeking attention. Just when he was most smug, I made my move. First I had our lawyers take the full evidence to the police. The police immediately rushed to the RAND base and arrested Lee Jun, who was in the office waiting for Mo Yenhan to transfer his final payment. After being arrested, Lee Jun confessed without hesitation to taking bribes and leaking project secrets. And he directly testified that Mo Yenhan had ordered him to do it. Next, I issued an official statement through proper channels. The statement included the chat logs and transfer records between Lee Jun and Mo Yenhan, Lee Jun's confession, and a comparison between the drawings Mo Yenhan displayed at the press conference and the designs I had created, clearly proving that Mo Yenhan's proclaimed self-developed technology was stolen from my project. I also explicitly pointed out that the drawings Mo Yenhan had obtained were a fake set with serious design flaws. An engine manufactured according to those plans would have severe safety hazards and would inevitably cause catastrophic failure and loss of life if flown. Once the statement was released, the internet exploded. The users who had been praising Mo Yenhan instantly flipped and began to attack him viciously. "Oh my god, it was stolen tech, fake. Mo Yenhan has no shame. Stealing technology from a national key project, that's a crime, right? Arrest him now." A national entrepreneur, more like a national disgrace. Disgusting. Mo Aviation's stock price plummeted the moment the statement was published, dropping 18% in a single day and vaporizing billions in market value. The securities regulator immediately announced an investigation into Mo Aviation for suspected disclosure violations. Mo Yenhan's new product launch instantly became the biggest national joke. Instead of gaining fame from stolen technology, he was embroiled in a huge scandal for stealing state secrets and saw his reputation destroyed. I sat in the office, staring at the news online, expressionless. "Mo Yenhan, you wanted to steal my technology, to climb over my achievements. You were far too naive. What I gave you was never a ladder to the sky, but a death warrant sending you to hell. What you stole wasn't technology but the evidence that would put you in prison, and this is only the beginning. The white moonlight you cradle in your palm, Sumaya, has an even bigger surprise waiting for you." After the tech theft blew up, Mo Yenhan was in utter chaos. The company's stock price plunged. The securities regulator opened an investigation. Banks demanded repayment. Partners severed ties one after another. He dealt with these messes every day. Even so, He still rushed to the hospital daily to accompany Sumaya. Because Sumaya was sick again, the internet was flooded with press releases saying Sumaya, having been attacked across the web because of Mo Yenhan, was traumatized. Her old illness relapsed, she was admitted to the ICU and was in critical condition. Mo Yenhan even posted a long piece online claiming it was all my fault, that I had driven Sumaya to this, demanding I apologized to her. In the comments, there was still a group of uninformed netizens feeling sorry for Sumaya and calling me cruel. Reading those reports, I could only find them ridiculous. Sumaya, playing the pitiful act to win sympathy. You're really practiced at this. Too bad, I already know your true colors. In full, Lu Xian's intelligence team has long since dug up every bit of your background. Sumaya is by no means a frail, sickly white moonlight. Her real identity is a commercial spy planted in the country by a foreign aviation intelligence agency. She returned from abroad 3 years ago and got close to Mo Yanghang solely to use the Mo Aviation platform to steal domestic aviation technical intelligence and pass it to foreign organizations. Her so-called relapse was nothing more than a means to keep Mo Yanghang by her side so she could more easily steal information. Even the wrist-cutting on the night of the proposal was a self-directed, self-inflicted ploy. She never hit any vital spot. It was all to get Mo Yanghang away from me. And Mo Yanghang, he was totally played, doting on her like a treasure, unaware that he had long since become a tool of a foreign spy and nearly an accomplice to treason. With the complete evidence in hand, I contacted the National Security Bureau. That afternoon I went straight to the private hospital where Sumaya was staying with national security agents. At the VIP ward door, Mo Yenhang's bodyguard was posted. When he saw us arrive, he immediately blocked our way. Miss Feng, Mr. Mo said you're not allowed in, please leave. I ignored him. The national security officer beside me immediately showed his credentials and said sternly to the bodyguard, National Security Bureau on duty, stand aside. When the bodyguard saw the ID, his face went pale. He dared not block us further and obediently stepped aside. I lifted my hand and pushed open the ward door. There was nothing about the room that suggested a critical illness. Sumaya was propped on the bed with a face mask on, holding a tablet and video calling someone abroad, speaking fluent English as she transmitted internal data from Mo Aviation. Mo Yanghang sat beside her, peeling grapes for her. They were chatting and laughing, intimate and relaxed. At the sound of the door opening, the two of them both looked up when they saw me enter with the state security officers. Sumaya's smile instantly froze. She tore the face mask off in fright, fumbled to turn off the tablet. Her face went ashen. She trembled and curled up under the quilt. Mo Yanghang immediately stood up, shielding Sumaya behind him, and shouted at us angrily. Feng Mingyao, what are you doing here again? I'm warning you, Maya is in critical condition. Don't you dare provoke her. Get out of here with your people. I ignored him, stepped aside, and the state security personnel behind me came forward, produced an arrest warrant and the complete evidence chain, and spoke solemnly to the woman under the quilt. Sumaya, we are from the National Security Bureau. We have gathered complete evidence showing you are suspected of stealing and illegally providing national commercial intelligence to foreign agencies. We are placing you under arrest in accordance with the law. Come with us. Upon hearing this, Sumaya collapsed instantly and screamed, I'm not I. Didn't you have the wrong person? I'm just an ordinary patient. Let go of me. An ordinary patient, one of the state security officers sneered, producing her chat logs with the foreign agency transfer records, evidence of intelligence transmission, and her spy dossier. The evidence is conclusive, there's no point in denying it. Come with us. Mo Yanhan looked at the evidence, stunned, his face ashen, unbelievingly staring at Sumaya behind him. Maya, what is going on? Is what they're saying true? Sumaya looked at him, a flicker of panic in her eyes, and immediately began to cry. Brother Chenju, believe me, I didn't. They're framing me. It's Feng Mingyao who set me up. Set you up? I looked at her and said coolly, Sumaya, 3 years ago when you returned from abroad you were using a fake identity. You got close to Mo Yanhan to exploit Mo Aviation, to steal domestic aviation technology intelligence and pass it to foreign agencies. The wrist-cutting on the night of the proposal was a staged, self-inflicted ploy to stop him from proposing to me so you could continue using him. Am I right? Sumaya's face went instantly bloodless and she couldn't utter a word. National security officers stepped forward, produced handcuffs and were about to cuff her. Just then, Sumaya suddenly pushed Mo Yanghang away and shouted hysterically, Yes, I'm a spy, so what? Mo Yanghang, Did you think I really loved you? I approached you from the start to use you. If it weren't for your control of the aviation group and the access to core technology, do you think I would have glanced at you? You're a fool. I've played around. Mo Yanghang stood frozen, trembling all over, his face deathly pale, as if struck by lightning, looking at Sumaya in disbelief. The white moonlight he had cherished in his palm for 3 years, the woman he would leave his fiancée's proposal scene to protect, turned out to be a spy who used him. His 3 years of devotion were all a joke. Sumaya was handcuffed by national security officers and escorted out. As she passed Mo Yanghang, she turned her head and spat at him venomously. Mo Yanghang, even if I go in, I won't let you off. You passed me so much intelligence. You're an accomplice. You can't run either. The door shut and Sumaya was taken away. The ward was left with only me and Mo Yanghang. He stood there distraught and trembling, his eyes full of despair and collapse. I looked at him and said coldly, Mo Yanghang, do you see clearly now? The white moonlight you cherished is a traitorous spy. You nearly became her accomplice and a criminal of the state. You gave up your fiancé and ruined your reputation for her. Was it worth it? Mo Yanghang snapped his head up, his eyes bloodshot, and suddenly howled hysterically. Get out of here. It's all you. It's all your fault. If not for you, Maya wouldn't be like this. I wouldn't be like this. I laughed coldly. Even now, he won't reflect on himself and instead blames me for everything. Hopeless, I ignored him and turned to leave the ward. With Sumaya arrested, Mo Yanghang lost not only his white moonlight but also was implicated in leaking state secrets, sinking into an irretrievable abyss. And I knew that wasn't enough. What he cared about most was his Mo Aviation. His monopoly in the aviation industry. Next, I would personally break his monopoly and take away what he valued most. Let him taste what it's like to have nothing. After Sumaya's arrest, Mo Yanghang fell into utter despair. Because of Sumaya's case, national security launched an investigation into him. He had to go to the State Security Bureau every day to cooperate with questioning and was overwhelmed. Mo Aviation's stock price continued to plummet, partners were cancelling contracts, and the financial chain was already on the verge of collapse. At that time, the Civil Aviation Administration issued a bidding announcement for a trunk aircraft engine project worth hundreds of billions. This was the country's largest annual aviation contract. Whoever won it would secure the top seat in the domestic private aviation sector. For Mo Yanghang, this was his only chance to turn things around. As long as he won the contract, he would receive a huge advance payment to plug the hole in the funding chain, stabilize the company's situation, and perhaps even bring it back to life. So he threw everything he had into getting this order. He mobilized all the resources in the Beijing circle, greased every connection he could, and even put up the company's core assets as collateral to raise money for public relations. He also spread word within the industry that the Mo family airline was determined to win this contract, and anyone who dared to compete with him was taking on his entire Beijing faction. At the same time, he publicly declared that I would never win the bid. So long as he was around, I shouldn't expect to establish myself in civil aviation. He believed that with his connections and resources, the contract was as good as his. What he didn't know was that I had long since made thorough preparations for this tender. My new aircraft engine had completed its final testing on all performance indicators, comprehensively surpassing all existing domestic technologies and even reaching an internationally leading level. The bidding meeting was held that day in the conference room of the Beijing Civil Aviation Administration. Participating in the bid were more than a dozen of the country's top aviation companies. Mo Yanghang sat at the front with his team, full of vigor as if victory were already assured. When he saw me walk in with my team, his face instantly darkened. He sneered at me and mouthed, "Overestimating yourself." I ignored him, went to my seat and sat down. The bidding meeting officially began, and each company took the stage in turn to present their proposals. Mo Yanghang was the second to last to present. He and his team showed their plan with impassioned rhetoric and extravagant claims, insisting their technology was leading, their costs low, and that they were the best choice. Several judges in the audience nodded one after another, appearing very satisfied with his proposal. When Mo Yanghang stepped down, he glanced at me triumphantly, his eyes full of arrogant certainty. Finally, it was my turn to go on stage. I took the USB drive, walked to the podium, plugged it into the computer, and the large screen behind me displayed the data for the new aircraft engine I had developed. I looked at the judges in the audience and in a calm and well-organized tone introduced my proposal. The engine we are bidding with this time has 100% independent intellectual property rights, and uses a completely new core engine design. Compared with current mainstream products in the industry, fuel consumption is reduced by 30%, thrust increased by 40%, service life extended by 50%, and all performance indicators reach internationally leading levels at the same time. Our production costs are 25% lower than similar products, giving us extremely strong market competitiveness. As I spoke, I displayed the engine's test data, simulation results, and flight test simulation reports, each datum precise, detailed, and beyond reproach. The judges watched the data on the big screen, their eyes growing brighter. They sat up straight, faces full of shock. Mo Yanghang, sitting in the audience, grew paler and paler, his eyes filled with disbelief. He had never expected that I would have developed an engine with such formidable performance. After presenting the proposal, I shifted my tone, looked at the audience, and continued, I need to add one more point: the core engine technology in Morshi Aviation's bid was purchased from a foreign company and is obsolete. It has no independent intellectual property, and its patent license is about to expire. Furthermore, based on the test data we have, this technology has serious safety flaws. The turbine blades do not meet fatigue strength standards and are prone to fracture under extreme high-altitude conditions, which could cause major flight accidents. After I finished, I displayed the report on technical defects in Morshi Aviation's proposal and all the test data on the big screen, clear and indisputable. The room instantly erupted. The judges stared at the figures on the screen, their expressions darkening, and they looked at Mo Yanghang with obvious dissatisfaction and suspicion. Mo Yanghang suddenly stood up and shouted at me, "Feng Mingyao, you're lying, you're slandering me, your report is forged. If it's forged, the judges can have a third-party agency test it and see immediately." I looked at him calmly. Mr. Mo, using obsolete foreign technology with safety hazards to bid for a national project worth hundreds of billions, are you worthy of the nation's trust? Are you worthy of the millions of passengers? Mo Yanghang stood frozen, his face pale and trembling, unable to say a word. I stepped down from the podium and returned to my seat. Next, the judges moved into a closed-door deliberation. Half an hour later, the results were announced. The host walked onto the stage holding the results and loudly declared, after a unanimous vote by the entire evaluation committee, the winner of this civil aviation administration trunk aircraft engine project is MS Feng Mingyao's RAND team, Feng Military Group. Thunderous applause erupted throughout the hall. I stood up and bowed to the judges. Mo Yanghang remained seated, completely frozen, his face ashen and his eyes unfocused. His only chance to turn things around had been snatched away by my own hands. Not only had he failed to win the contract, but his technical flaws and safety hazards had been exposed publicly, leaving him utterly unqualified to remain in the civil aviation industry. The bidding session ended and I left the conference room with my team. Mo Yanghang chased after us, blocking my path, bloodshot eyes fixed on me. "Feng Mingyao, you did this on purpose, you intentionally ruined me." I looked at him and said coldly, "Mo Yanghang, if your skills aren't up to par, you should accept the loss. This contract was won by merit, not connections. Your technology is poor and unsafe. Who are you blaming? I won't let this go." He gritted his teeth, speaking word by word. "Feng Mingyao, even if I die, I'll drag you down with me." I smiled faintly, ignored him, walked around him and left. I knew he had been driven to a dead end. A cornered dog will jump a wall, a desperate man will do crazier things. But I was not afraid. The more frantic he became, the faster he would destroy himself, and he had no idea that his next moves would utterly drive him out of the group he had founded. After losing the trillion-yuan contract, Mo Group Aviation fell into irreversible ruin. When the banks saw that Mo Yanghang had lost the core order, they immediately announced they would call in all loans early and froze all of Mo Group Aviation's accounts. Partners tore up agreements and demanded huge breach of contract compensation. Suppliers came to demand payment, and the company's cash flow was completely cut off. Mo Group Aviation's stock hit consecutive limit downs, its market value plummeting from over 30 billion at its peak to less than 5 billion, evaporating nearly 90%. The group's shareholders suffered catastrophic losses and directed all their anger at Mo Yanghang. They united and issued a notice to call an extraordinary shareholders meeting to remove Mo Yanghang from the CEO position and pursue legal responsibility for the massive losses he had caused the company. Mo Yanhan was utterly panicked. Mo Group Aviation had been founded by him alone. It was the fruit of his lifelong effort and the basis of his status as a princeling in Beijing circles. If he were expelled from the group, he would truly have nothing left. To protect his position, he made a desperate decision. He secretly embezzled the group's remaining $2 billion in liquid funds, added tenfold leverage and shorted Lu Corporation's stock. He knew Lu Corporation was my backer. If Lu's stock plummeted, I would lose that support and he could seize the opportunity to turn things around. He also thought that if the short succeeded, he could make tens of billions, not only filling the group's hole but also calming the shareholders and securing his job. He didn't know that this decision was the stupidest thing he'd ever done. All his moves were anticipated by Lu Xiang and me. From the moment he misappropriated the funds, Lu Xiang already knew. We had long since set a trap for him, just waiting for him to fall into it. On the second day after he opened his short position, Lu Corporation announced a major positive development. The announcement declared that Lu Military Industries had reached $100 billion level strategic cooperation agreement with the National Military Department to be responsible for the research and production of a new generation of military aircraft, with a cooperation period of up to 10 years. Once the announcement came out, Lu Corporation's stock immediately hit the daily limit that day. Over the next 3 days it hit the one-word daily limit 3 days in a row, and the stock price rose by nearly 40%. Mo Yanhan's short positions were directly liquidated. He not only lost the $2 billion public funds he embezzled, but because he used tenfold leverage, he also incurred nearly $10 billion in massive debt to the securities firms. The group's public fund shortfall was completely exposed. When the news reached Mo Aviation, the shareholders were furious. An emergency shareholders meeting was convened ahead of schedule. Lu Xiang and I also attended this shareholders meeting because in the past few days we had acquired 15% of Mo Aviation's tradable shares on the secondary market, becoming the group's third largest shareholder. We were qualified to attend the meeting. The atmosphere at the shareholders meeting was as cold and heavy as ice. Mo Yan stood on the stage, his face pale and body trembling, continuously explaining and apologizing to the shareholders below, promising to make up the deficit and begging them to give him another chance. But the shareholders had long since lost all faith in him. No one was willing to hear his nonsense. The chairman presiding over the meeting looked at the audience and said loudly, "We will now proceed to vote on the motion to remove Mr. Mo Yan from his positions as president and director of Mo Aviation. Those in favor, please raise your hands." As soon as he finished speaking, the shareholders below raised their hands in unison. Unanimously passed. Not a single person was willing to give him another chance. The chairman looked at Mo Yan and said coldly, "Mr. Mo Yan, effective immediately, you are officially removed from all positions at Mo Aviation. At the same time, the group will initiate legal action against you for embezzlement of public funds and causing the company enormous losses, and will pursue legal responsibility. Security, please escort him out." 2 security guards immediately came up, lifted the dazed Mo Yan, and dragged him out. Mo Yan struggled desperately and shouted at the audience, "You can't do this to me. I founded Mo Aviation. It's mine. You can't kick me out." But no one paid him any attention. He was like a hunted dog, dragged out by security and thrown at the company's entrance. I sat in the audience watching the scene with an expressionless face. "Mo Yan, this is what you brought on yourself. You resorted to any means to turn things around, embezzled public funds, took reckless risks, and in the end suffered this fate. All choices you made yourself. The group you founded with your own hands has now thrown you out. Everything you cared about is gone." After the meeting, Lu Xiang and I left Mo Aviation's headquarters. Lu Xiang looked at me and smiled. Now he's completely been driven out of the group, left with nothing. I nodded and looked at the distant sky, speaking calmly. "Not enough, he still doesn't know who I really am." Lu Xiang smiled. "He'll know soon. At next week's Beijing aristocracy banquet, old Master Feng will also attend. By then, everyone will know you're the eldest miss of the Feng family." I smiled but said nothing. Yes, it's time to let him know the true identity of the woman he always looked down on and casually bullied. Let him know that all his past arrogance and oppression in my eyes were nothing but a clownish performance. And that banquet will be another harsh slap in his face. A week later, The top annual closed-door banquet of the capital's leading families was held at a private club beside the Summer Palace. Only the country's most top-tier military, political, and business families were eligible to attend this banquet. It was the core, most elite gathering of the Beijing Circle, although the Mo family, to which Mo Yan belonged, had once been considered part of the city's esteemed families. They were never qualified to enter this core circle. This time he pulled countless strings and sold the last of his assets just to barely secure an entry spot. He came here to beg the big shots in the circle to give him a way out, to help him so he could make a comeback. My grandfather, Lu Xiang, and I attended the banquet together. By the time we entered the club, the banquet had already begun. The venue was packed with the heads of all the top families from Jingcheng and Jinling, each one a powerhouse who could shake the whole industry by stomping their foot. When they saw my grandfather, Feng Zhenxiong, walk in, the leaders who had been chatting immediately surrounded him and greeted him respectfully. "Elder Feng, you've arrived. Long time no see, still in such robust health. Elder Feng, please have a seat, your presence truly honors us." Grandpa smiled and exchanged pleasantries with them, then his gaze fell on me. He introduced me to everyone with a smile. "Let me introduce my granddaughter, Feng Mingyao. She is the Feng family's only direct heir." All eyes turned to me, full of admiration and respect. The organizer's big boss immediately approached, bowed slightly and said respectfully, "Miss Feng, we've heard so much about you. Your development of the aero engine has truly brought honor to the nation. Welcome home." The entire hall burst into applause and their looks at me were full of awe. The Feng family's only direct heir, everyone present understood how weighty those 8 words were. The Feng family of Jinling is a titan in the country's military-industrial sphere, holding the nation's core military resources, a true pillar of the state, completely incomparable to an ordinary Jing Circle family like the Mo's. At that moment, Mo Yangyang pushed through the crowd. His ill-fitting suit, disheveled hair, and bloodshot eyes made him look exhausted and haggard, completely different from the arrogant prince of the Jing Circle he used to be. He had been about to step forward to beg a big shot for help, but then he saw this scene. When he heard the words "the Feng family's only direct heir," he froze as if struck by lightning. He stood in place, pale and trembling, staring at me in disbelief. He finally understood. He finally realized that Feng Mingyao, the woman who had loved him for 3 years, whom he'd casually abandoned on a proposal street, whom he had bullied and humiliated, was not an ordinary research engineer. She was the eldest miss of the Feng family of Jinling, the sole heir of a top domestic military-industrial house, someone he couldn't even look up to. He had once thought that 3 million would make her obedient. He had cut off supplies to force her to bow. He had used the little influence he had to try to blacklist her. In hindsight, those actions were nothing but the antics of a clown, ridiculous to the extreme. He had always believed he was the exalted prince of the Jing Circle, that he was being magnanimous in tolerating me, that I was the one reaching up to him. In the end, he was the frog in the well. It was he who had been reaching for me without realizing it, while treating me like a soft target to be toyed with. I looked at him, a cold smile curving my lips, and stepped up to him. The crowd fell silent, watching us with a spectacle-seeking gleam in their eyes. My tone was calm but every word cut to the core. "Mo Yangyang, do you understand now who I am?" He stared at me, his lips trembling, unable to utter a word. His eyes were full of despair, regret, and disbelief. "You always thought you could be indispensable to me, that I was just an ordinary engineer, that you could manipulate and humiliate me at will." I looked him in the eye and said coldly, "Let me tell you, from the very beginning, if I'd wanted to rely on the Feng family's background, 10 Mo aviation companies wouldn't have meant anything to me. I've been with you for 3 years and never mentioned my family background because I wanted to rely on my own ability, not because I didn't have one. You discarded me on the street for your white moonlight, leaving me to wait all night in the cold wind. You cut off my material supply to force me to bow. You bribed insiders to steal my technology to try to ruin my project. You used every resource to try to blacklist me." I paused, looked at him and spoke slowly, word by word. "Mo Yanghang, you never knew who you were really provoking. All your arrogance, schemes and suppression in front of me were, in my eyes, nothing more than a clownish performance, utterly ridiculous." He looked at me, his legs suddenly giving out. He nearly fell to his knees, tears filling his eyes. His voice was hoarse as he said, "Yao Yao, I'm wrong, I'm really wrong. I didn't recognize a great person. I shouldn't have provoked you. I shouldn't have betrayed you. Please forgive me. I'm begging you, spare me, spare you." I laughed, a cold laugh. When you left me on the street, why didn't you think to spare me? When you tried to destroy my project and ruin me, why didn't you think to spare me then? Mo Yanghang, it's too late to realize your mistake now. After I said that, I turned and walked away, never looking back at him. The powerful figures around us, seeing Mo Yanghang distraught, looked at him with contempt and disgust, and one by one avoided him, afraid to be associated. The big names he had tried to beg now wouldn't even spare him a glance. He stood there, becoming the biggest joke of the entire banquet. Outside the club, getting into the car, Grandpa looked at me and smiled. How do you feel? Do you feel better? I nodded and smiled. Yes, Grandpa, thank you. Silly girl, why be polite with Grandpa? He patted my hand. My granddaughter isn't someone anyone can pick on. Lu Xiang sat beside me, watching me with gentle eyes. Next is the flight test. Mo Yanghang has been driven to the brink. I worry he might tamper with things during the test. I nodded, my expression growing cold. I knew Mo Yanghang had completely lost his mind. With nothing left, he would do the most insane thing, to perish with me. And the flight test would be his last chance. I must prepare thoroughly and wait for him to walk into the trap. After the aristocratic banquet, Mo Yanghang vanished completely. No one knew where he went, no one could contact him. He seemed to have evaporated. But I knew he hadn't disappeared. He had hidden himself, plotting something in the dark. He had nothing left, expelled from the corporation, burdened with huge debts, suspected of multiple crimes, and wanted by the police. With nothing left to lose, he would surely do something extreme and insane to perish with me. And my new aircraft engine was about to undergo its final flight test. This test would be the ultimate evaluation of my 3 years of research and development, as well as a critical milestone in a national key project. Top experts from across the nation's aviation sector would attend, and it would be broadcast officially in full. If the test succeeded, my project would be a complete success and I would become one of the country's top engineers in aviation. If the test failed, or worse, resulted in a crash, not only would my efforts be destroyed, the test pilots on board could die, and I could even be cursed for eternity. This was Mo Yanghang's last chance. He would definitely tamper with the test flight. Lu Xiang and I had already anticipated his move. Lu Xiang had deployed the top security team to conduct comprehensive, no blind spot checks on the test flight's airport, aircraft, ground crew, and flight test team, with 24-hour rotating guards forbidding any suspicious person from approaching. Sure enough, the security team found something abnormal the day before the test flight. A ground technician responsible for aircraft maintenance sneaked into the hangar late at night and implanted malicious code into the aircraft's flight control system. This program would lock the operating system when the plane reached 10,000 meters altitude, causing the aircraft to lose control and ultimately crash. The security team arrested the ground technician on the spot and found chats and transfer records between him and Mo Yanghang on his phone. Mo Yanghang had given him 10 million, asking him to sabotage the plane, and promised another 10 million to help him flee abroad if it succeeded. The culprit and the evidence were both in hand. The proof was conclusive. I looked at the evidence and my expression instantly turned cold. Mo Yanghang, to take revenge on me, had gone so far as to lose his humanity. He not only wanted to ruin my project but also intended to kill the test pilots on board, causing a deadly crash. This behavior was no longer mere revenge. It was a serious criminal act and a threat to public safety. I immediately reported it to the police and handed over all the evidence to them. The police immediately set up a cordon, laying a net of surveillance around the airport, waiting for Mo Yanghang to appear. The next day was the test flight. Beijing Western Suburban Military Airport was under tight security. Top experts in the nation's aviation field, military leaders, and media reporters had all gathered on site. The official live broadcast had already begun, with tens of millions watching online. I wore my work uniform and stood on the tarmac, looking at the plane before me. The aircraft, fitted with the new engine I had developed, had completed its final inspections and everything was normal. The test pilot saluted me and called out loudly, "Director Feng, the aircraft is all clear, requesting takeoff." I returned his salute and shouted, "Takeoff approved, be careful." The test pilot nodded and boarded the plane. A few minutes later the engines roared deafeningly as it accelerated down the runway, then abruptly lifted its nose and shot into the sky. In the control tower everyone stared at the big screen, watching the aircraft's flight data. The engine was running normally, flight control system normal, all performance indicators fully meet design standards. The aircraft at 10,000 meters altitude completed all test maneuvers. Extreme dives, rapid pull-ups, supersonic flight, each maneuver executed perfectly. 1 hour later, the plane landed smoothly on the runway and came to a steady stop. The cabin door opened. The test pilot climbed down, saluted me and shouted excitedly, "Director Fong, the test flight was a complete success. Engine performance is perfect, beyond expectations." The whole venue erupted instantly, applause and cheers deafening. Experts flocked over, shaking my hand and exclaiming excitedly, "Engineer Fong. Congratulations, you've made history, you've filled a domestic technological gap, you've brought glory to the nation." In the live stream, the comment stream scrolled thick with messages, all congratulations and blessings. The entire internet was cheering for this successful test flight. I looked at the plane in front of me, my eyes a little hot. 3 years of effort, countless days and nights of research and development, had finally borne fruit. At this moment I did it. Just then there was a commotion at the airport entrance. Police were escorting someone over. It was Mo Yanghang. He was wearing a hoodie, a mask, and a hat, hiding in the stands, hoping to watch the plane crash and see me ruined. Instead, what he saw was a perfectly successful test flight, and me receiving everyone's admiration. He completely broke down, tried to rush over to attack me, but the officers lying in wait nearby arrested him on the spot. The police brought him before me. He looked at me, his eyes bloodshot, and screamed hysterically, "Feng Mingyao, why didn't the plane crash? I had everything arranged, why?" I looked at him and said coldly, "Mo Yanghang, the people you arranged were long ago caught by us. We know every detail of your plan. You thought you could destroy me. You were too naive. I don't believe it, I don't believe it." He struggled wildly. "Feng Mingyao, even if I die, I'll take you down with me. I won't let you go. You don't have the chance." I looked at him, my tone calm. "Mo Yanghang, you are suspected of sabotaging transportation, endangering public safety, plus the previous embezzlement, framing, and leaking state secrets, multiple crimes with cumulative sentences. You will spend the rest of your life in prison." The officer nodded at me, escorted Mo Yanghang, and turned to leave. As he was taken away, he kept howling and cursing, his voice fading until it disappeared completely. Lu Xiang came to my side, handed me a bottle of water and smiled. "It's all over, he can't hurt you anymore." I took the water, nodded and looked at the distant sky as sunlight warmed and dazzled me. Yes, it was all over. The man who betrayed me, hurt me, and tried to destroy me had finally received his due punishment, but I hadn't expected that another ultimate truth was waiting for me, one about 20 years ago about my father, and about the untold feud between him and the Mo family. After Mo Yanghang was arrested, his trial began quickly. He faced so many charges: sabotaging transportation, endangering public safety, embezzlement, framing, and harboring criminals. For each charge there was a complete chain of evidence, ironclad. I attended the trial in court. Mo Yanghang wore prison garb, his hair streaked with grey, haggard, completely different from the once confident prince of the Beijing circle. Faced with the prosecution's accusations, he refused to plead guilty and instead ranted hysterically in court, claiming it was all my doing, that I had ruined his life and destroyed everything for him. He said that his getting close to me and dating me was never because he liked me but to seek revenge. Just then my lawyer stood up and said to the judge, "Your Honor, we have a new piece of evidence to submit to the court. This evidence proves that the defendant, Mo Yanghang, approached my client from the start with a clear criminal intent." The judge nodded and allowed the evidence to be submitted. My lawyer projected a file that had been sealed for 20 years onto the big screen. Everyone in the courtroom looked at the big screen. The lawyer looked at the file and read, word by word, 20 years ago my client Ms. Feng Mingyao's father, Mr. Feng Jianjun, was a top domestic aeronautical engineer who led the development of the country's first generation of domestically owned aircraft engines. The defendant Mo Yanyan's father, Mo Mingyuan, at that time was Mr. Feng Jianjun's deputy. Mo Mingyuan, in order to steal this core technology and sell it to foreign organizations for huge profits, tampered with the plane used for test flights, causing it to crash during a test flight and resulting in Mr. Feng Jianjun's death at the scene. Afterwards, Mo Mingyuan's crimes were exposed. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, and he died in prison. When those words came out, the whole courtroom erupted. Everyone turned to look at Mo Yanghang in the defendant's seat, their expressions full of shock. Mo Yanghang's face went ashen, his whole body trembling as he stared in disbelief at the file on the screen. The lawyer continued, "The defendant Mo Yanghang knew the whole truth from the beginning. He courted my client Ms. Feng Mingyao, and proposed to her not out of love, but to get close to the Feng family, steal the core technology of a national key project, clear his father's name, and destroy the Feng family to avenge his father. His so-called white moonlight Sumaya was also someone he deliberately kept close to provoke my client, make her lose control, and thereby make it easier for him to act. Leaving my client on the street on the night of the proposal was also part of his premeditated plan intended to force my client into losing control and exposing a flaw. The whole courtroom erupted instantly. It turned out that from the very beginning, it had all been a meticulously planned conspiracy. 3 years of feelings were all fake. He didn't get close to me out of love, but for revenge, to ruin the Feng family. I sat in the plaintiff's seat, expressionless. Actually, my grandfather had long ago told me about this. He never hid from me the truth about my father's death. I knew Mo Mingyuan was the murderer who killed my father, and I knew Mo Yanghang was his son, but at first I thought the grudges of the previous generation shouldn't be dragged into the next. I assumed Mo Yanghang was innocent. When I was with him at the start, I wanted to see whether he was like his father. As it turned out, he really was like his father, selfish, vicious, willing to use any means to achieve his ends, even more depraved and frenzied than his father. The lawyer paused, then released the final ultimate piece of evidence. Your Honor, we have one more piece of evidence. The Feng family had long ago fully uncovered Mo Mingyuan's crimes and, cooperating with the police, provided a complete chain of evidence that brought Mo Mingyuan to justice. But because the defendant Mo Yanghang was only 5 years old at the time, Elder Feng spared him out of compassion for his youth, even secretly supporting the Mo family so he could grow up smoothly. Unexpectedly, he repaid kindness with enmity, scheming to retaliate against the Fengs and harm my client. When that line came out, the whole courtroom erupted again. Mo Yanghang stood in the defendant's dock, completely shattered. He had always believed that the Feng family had ruined his family and caused his father's death, that he was avenging his father and doing the right thing. In the end, it turned out his father was the heinous killer, and the Feng family had not only failed to wipe him out, they had even supported him. His long-planned revenge was nothing but a huge joke. He repaid kindness with hatred and hurt the only person who had ever shown him goodwill. He looked at me, his eyes full of despair, remorse, and collapse. His legs went weak and he slumped onto the defendant's bench. The judge struck the gavel and pronounced the verdict in court. Defendant Mo Yanghang, convicted of damaging transportation equipment, endangering public safety, embezzlement, false accusation, and framing, and harboring a criminal, multiple offenses to be punished cumulatively, sentenced to life imprisonment. Deprived of political rights for life, not eligible for commutation. The gavel fell, sealing the decision. Mo Yanghang was escorted out of the courtroom by the bailiffs. As he passed by me, he stopped, looked at me, tears falling, and his voice hoarse as he said, "Yao Yao, I was wrong, I really was wrong, I'm sorry." I looked at him, expressionless, and didn't say a word. Sorry. Too late. He killed my father, schemed to destroy me, to ruin the Feng family, did so many monstrous things. One sorry can't possibly make up for any of it. I turned and walked out of the courtroom. The sunlight outside fell right on me. 20 years later, my father's vengeance was finally served. What he owed my father, what he owed me, what he owed everyone he had hurt, let a lifetime in prison pay it back. Lu Xiang waited for me at the courthouse door. He came up to me, handed me a bouquet of sunflowers, and smiled. "It's all over from now on, no one will ever hurt you again." I took the flowers, looked at him and smiled. Yes, it's all over. Those dark, painful, betrayal-filled days have passed, and my future is bright.